You're now listening to the Adiel Gorel Show. Each episode, I'll bring you the latest news from my discussions with top health and wellness experts so that you can bring yourself into better health. Today, on the Adiel Gorel Show. Because it's free, it doesn't have any side effects. You have shown that it has proven, effects on our immune system and stress, reduction, blood pressure. What if somebody doesn't even walk? I'm taking it back to the, other end of the spectrum. They just go in the forest, they sit near a tree and they meditate or they think. That's good too, right?
Good. So I also, recommend for some people. So if you don't want to walk, don't do some exercise, you just sit under a tree and read the book, but not the computer, not the iPhone. Read the book. So you also can do meditation. So everyone, so it's depends on your preference. So you can walk, you can picnic, you can read your book. You can read. You also can take some meditation.
So now I get such a different perspective because it's very popular here in the US, maybe there as well, for people to buy, a bicycle for the home or a treadmill for the home. So they go on the bicycle and they look at something on the screen or they write, and now in this light, it would have been better for them to ride, outside, not to be on this, on this machine, at home.
It's important. Very important. You don't use a machine to the for bathing. You just you can take the bicycle, but not very fast, very slow. So the first will pass a lot of good scenery.
So now I want to ask you something else. We talked about the forest, we talked about the trees, what about if somebody lives next to the beach? So they walk in the sand with their bare feet, the waves are there, the ocean, the breeze. There are no trees, but clearly that will have an effect too, right?
In fact, because I don't have data on the beach or the ocean, but I can see just during the first bathing, we have 5 senses: for sense of the smell, sense of the sight, sense of the hearing, sense of touch, and sense of the taste. But when you visit the beach, visit the ocean, I think there are no sense of the smell, because the smell is very special for the first bathing. Why? We call the smell is called its name is you use the name the fighting side of the aroma. So in fact, the aroma at the fighting side produced from tree is very important for the bathing. In fact, I conducted several experiments to confirm the effect of the smell. For example, for one experiment, I incubated the human immune cell with the fighting side. Maybe you know the essential oil from the tree, from Japanese cedar tree, Japanese hinoki tree. Just incubation in the test tube, incubate the human immune cell and the essential oil from trees for 1 week. So after 1 week incubation, I measured the natural killer activity and anti-cancer protein, and I found the natural killer activity increased, and the anti-cancer protein also increased. So this is one experiment. I also conducted another experiment. So I took people to stay at the hotel. I produced the aroma smell, in the hotel room. That the subject stay there for 3 nights. So for during daytime, they can just get to work and do the daily life and get to work, but only stay 3 nights in the hotel with the aroma in the room air. So after 3 days stay at the hotel, I measured the immune function and the stress hormone. and the natural killer activity increased, anti-cancer protein increased, stress hormone reduced. So from this, those data, those evidence, you can find the importance of the smell of the essential oil from the tree.
But so when you did the experiment in the hotel, how did you generate the smell? What was the source of the smell?
The source smell is essential oil from the Japanese cypress tree, very good tree. Yes, Japanese. It's a kind of pine tree. We call the Japanese cypress. In fact, that forest is very good forest, good smell. Because of good smell, there are no mosquitoes in that forest. So I use the essential oil from the Japanese cypress tree. I produce the smell, the aroma in the room of the forest.
So the next question has to be, okay, we are finding out something that even if you use the smells at night, maybe not all week long, but maybe 3 nights, well, how can we get those? How can we get those good, pure, aromas, in essential oils? Where can we buy them?
In fact, in Japan, a lot of departments sell the essential oil. So I think you also can get in America, but it's very important. The Japanese cypress essential oil is best for produce the good effect.
Is it possible for you to send us an email with some good names of, because we don't understand, we may buy something that's not as beneficial or as pure. We would love to know from you, especially stuff that we can get in the US, but nowadays you can get things that, all over the world. We would love to know about these and get them.
Okay, no problem. After the interview, I can send an email to you and show how can you get the essential oil from Japan.
Very much would like that, and I think our viewers would like that as well for us to share. So now, clearly we are in the period still of COVID-19. The whole world is talking about it. You are an immunologist. The word. So clearly, I would assume that everything you describe would be good prevention, for COVID-19 as well, right?
Yeah. In fact, there are 2 points for the COVID-19. One is the immune function. Another is stress hormone. In fact, maybe elder people and people with the underlying diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and respiratory diseases will easy to get COVID-19. Why? Because those people show lower immune function. So immune function is very important. In fact, fortification can boost immune function. So from this standpoint, you can find fortification may have preventive effect for COVID-19. This is one point. Another point is stress hormone. During the pandemic of the COVID-19, a lot of country, a lot of city will have the lockdown and isolation. So many people will feel mental stress, a lot of mental stress, even will show some mental disorder because of the lockdown, because of the isolation. But fortification can reduce the stress hormone, reduce the mental stress, such as anxiety, depression, anger, fatigue, confusion, and improve the positive feeling. So from this standpoint, you can find fortification may have preventive effect on COVID-19 by reducing stress to reduce the risk of the mental stress and mental disorder. So in fact, I have published a paper with the Italian researcher last year. So people just watching fourth video for 4 weeks during the stay home. and compare the video from the city scenery, city environment. So as a result, watch the first environment video will reduce the negative feeling, will reduce the stress, but compare with the city scenery. So if you can visit a real forest, maybe you can get more effect from the forest. So I think during the pandemic of the COVID-19, you can still enjoy the forest bathing, because if you visit forest bathing, there are no people, only tree. So it's very good for the prevention of the COVID-19.
So we talked about the smells that were simulated, not really simulated. They were those, essential oils, which we are going to know where to get.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're talking about even the visual, the people who watch video of the forest, video, that was already beneficial.
Okay. For example, so during the you stay home, you can use several things to enjoy the forest bathing. One is I have told you the essential oil, the smell. So another way is you can watch the video. In fact, recently, there are a lot of YouTube program, video. You can enjoy the sound of the forest. You can say you use the sense of the hearing. You also can see the beautiful scenery of the forest. So the sense of the sight, sense of the hearing, and plus the sense of the smell. So even you stay at the home, you also can enjoy forest bathing. So enjoy the effect of forest bathing by using essential oil, by watching the video from the forest. Also, you can put some plants, flower and plants at your home, at your office. It's not so much effect compared with the forest, but you also can get some effect from the plants, from the flower, from the essential oil, from some video.
So, the forests that I saw in your book are absolutely beautiful, and they seem to be very shady, and the weather is typically, when I saw the pictures, cool. But what about some forests, exists in warm places? It's still a forest. You walk and the sun is strong. Does it make a difference?
Yeah, in fact, the weather is very important. So due to the cold weather in the winter, so because the tree cannot produce phytoncide, cannot produce the aroma, so the effect will be less. But due to the warmer day, like spring, summer, and autumn, there are a lot of why is a lot of green leaves, green plants, green trees. Another way is because the warmer day, the warmer weather, tree will produce more phytoncide, more essential oil, more aroma, to produce the effect. So I suggest you visit the forest during the spring, summer, and autumn. But you also can visit the forest during the winter. So it depends on environment.
Well, clearly this is going to become more interesting and widespread to people because it's free. It doesn't have any side effects. You have shown that it has proven, effects on our immune system and stress, reduction, blood pressure. In your book, you actually show the numbers. So I think it's quite fascinating. So in the future, what do you see as the future of this? Right now, it's not a concept that people think about very much. So what do you foresee, the future?
Yeah. In fact, I just give you this figure, maybe you cannot see. This is the effect of the forest bathing on blood pressure. In fact, if you take just 1 day forest bathing, the blood pressure will be reduced for about 7 to 8 mmHg. The 7 to 8 mmHg is a big reduction. So as you said, you visit the forest bathing, so there are no side effect. It's free, you also can get a lot of other benefits. So forest bathing is very good for our for home health. So I just give you the future view of the forest bathing. I think there are three applications in the future for the forest bathing. One is preventive medicine. So forest bathing may be a preventive, may prevent some diseases such as hypertension, depression, and heart diseases. This is one. Another one is we call the clinic medicine. So forest bathing may be a treatment for some diseases such as hypertension, depression, and heart disease, even for the COVID-19. And the third one is we call the rehabilitation medicine. So people, after got a stroke, we will show some disability. So in fact, forest bathing, if you take the rehabilitation in the forest in the small forest, in the Japanese garden. In fact, in Japan, we have a lot of Japanese garden near to the hospital. So you can take rehabilitation during in the forest in the city park. So also will have good effect for your rehabilitation. So three applications.
So, forest bathing as a name may make some people sort of think skeptically. It sounds, it's a new age concept. Forest medicine, you call it forest medicine. What are, other ways to call it that sound a little more sciencey? Because people are forest bathing, you know what I mean? It can.
Yeah, in fact, before 2004, the forest bathing, the effect of forest bathing just a common sense. So just experience. So maybe you visit a beautiful forest, you will get some good effect, but there are no data, no scientific evidence. But from 2004, I have conducted many researchers, not only me, other researchers also conduct many experiments on the topic of forest bathing. So now we have established this is so popular, because the forest bathing can become from a feeling to a science. So before 2004, that's just a feeling for bathing. But after that, for the now, the forest bathing have become from a feeling to a science. So I think people, you have to believe the data, believe the evidence, believe the science. Now, forest bathing has become the science. If you don't believe science, it's your problem.
Yeah.
Lot of data, and very good book. This textbook.
I have it. I have the book.
This book for the researcher. I have published another book, the forest bathing. And this book is for public. We have published this English book. In fact, this book has been translated into 26 languages, including Japanese.
So we can use the terms forest bathing and forest medicine, interchangeably. The science of forest medicine and things of that nature. Now, Dr. Li, how can people benefit from more of your research, your expertise? Is there a website we can go to? What else can we do besides getting your book?
So, in fact, you can get my book from the Amazon. So you also can get some news, some information of the benefits of forest bathing from my home page. We have one home page in English called the Society, International Society of Nature and Forest Medicine. We have a very beautiful English home page. We also have Japanese home page, Chinese home page. So you can get the information about forest bathing from my home page. Recently, a lot of TV program, lot of videogram and newspaper and journal, magazine, also reporting my research.
So for the people who are viewing this and are very, eager to go on the website, can you give us the address of the website, in English?
Oh, okay. So there are a lot of resources about the forest basin, about my research. So I think recently people have a lot of way to get the new information.
Yeah, well, nowadays all they need to do is even just search for your name, search for us, search for this. Yeah. And your book, of course.
You just, maybe you just search Qing Li plus forest basin. So you can get a lot of book, the information of book, a lot of website of my research.
Again, the beauty of this is it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cause any side effects. It's effective. It's been proven. It's almost crazy when you think about it. Why shouldn't I do it? It's crazy not to do it. Well, Dr. Li, when are you going to be back in the United States this time?
Okay. In fact, forest basin is really good for the home house, but maybe a lot of people don't understand the importance of the forest basin, don't understand the region of the forest basin. In fact, I think stress is a key word to understand the forest basin, to understand the benefits of forest basin. In fact, stress can induce a lot of diseases such as cancers, hypertension, depression, and stroke, and also heart diseases, also panic disorder, eating disorder, sleep disorder. So you name it. However, forest basin can reduce stress. So stress is a very good keyword to understand the effect of forest basin. So okay.
So, to walk in the forest, people need to be relatively mobile, and healthy. What about people who are not mobile? What about people who are already in bed, who are sick, in the hospital or at home? How can we bring forest bathing to them? Well, you said about the smell. We can put the essential oil. We can show them the forest. What else can we do?
I think so you can take the forest into the city. Also can take forest into the home. So by use the essential oil and by use in fact in the hospital you can use the picture of the forest. In fact, in my hospital, I work with the hospital with a lot of elder patients. In fact, I produce the essential oil for the dementia prevention. I also use some picture of the forest to show the picture to the patients. So the patient also can get the relaxation from the beautiful picture. Also sometimes I show the TV program. I took the program from the YouTube and play and show on the TV screen to the people, to the patient. So they also can get the relaxation from those YouTube program.
And maybe a plant or flowers. That's why maybe when people are sick, everybody bring them flowers, right?
Yeah. It's flower is very good. Flower is very good for the patient. So maybe you can put some flower on the room of the hospital.
It reminds me, I don't remember what country, it was. There was a TV channel and all it showed 24 hours a day was fish swimming in water, 24 hours a day. So that is kind of, along the same, right?
Yeah. So this screen, this program also can give you the relaxation. It's very good. Yes. So there are a lot of measures, a lot of way to get relaxation from the lot of resources.
Well, Dr. Li, I have to say, I learned a lot, and I hope our viewers do. I want to thank you so much for taking the time early in the morning in Tokyo, to meet with us. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I just give the audience one take-home message. So let's go to first Beijing to overcome the COVID-19. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining me today for the second part of our amazing interview. If you didn't catch part 1, don't miss out. The link is in the description below for you. And be sure to click the subscribe button for more videos.